Hi friend, I've been diving into ink devices for over a decade, exploring everything from Kindles to Remarkable, but today I've got something truly unique, an ink smartphone, specifically the Bigme HiBreak. This is the first ink smartphone for me, and the big question that immediately came to my mind was, can ink phone be practical for daily use, or is it just a cool concept? Well, come along and let's find out together. Right out of the box, the Bigme HiBreak doesn't scream futuristic. Its design is modest, featuring a 5.8-inch color ink display with noticeable bezels, especially at the top and bottom. The phone feels solid in hand, weighing at 170 grams, which is pretty standard these days. The back is plastic and leather-like texture, providing a good grip and resisting fingerprints, making it both practical and comfortable to hold. Let's talk about the specs for a moment. The HiBreak is powered by an octa-core 2.3 GHz CPU paired with 128 gigs of storage. This setup is quite sufficient for basic tasks like web browsing, messaging and light app use, but it definitely won't compete with flagship smartphones. Thankfully, there's an expandable storage up to 1 TB via a micro SD card, which is a nice addition for those who need extra space. So what about the display? It's a 5.8-inch color ink screen and it has a fairly low resolution of 720 by 1440, offering 275 ppi in black and white and 92 ppi in color. While this resolution is decent for reading and general basic UI navigation, it's noticeably lower than a standard LCD or OLED screens, or even some other ink displays out there, making small text and fine details less sharp and pixelated. The color reproduction is functional, but lacks the vibrancy of traditional screens, which is a trade-off for the energy efficiency and eye comfort of ink. The phone also includes a 5MP front camera and a 13MP rear camera, which are basic by today's smartphone standards. The rear camera captures usable images in good lighting conditions, but struggles with sharpness and detail in low light. The front camera is decent for video calls, but don't expect high-quality selfies. And the videos, barely watchable. The cameras are functional when it comes to taking pictures and videos, but it may get a bit frustrating due to the ink refresh rate. The Bigme HiBreak supports 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and GPS, ensuring it covers all the essentials connectivity needs. And hey, it can handle calls, text, basic mobile data usage without issues, making it quite functional as a daily driver for those who don't rely on high-speed performance. And yeah, the video is not great on this thing, so you wouldn't do it anyway. Running on Android 11, the Bigme HiBreak offers full access to the Google Play Store, allowing me to install my favorite apps. However, not all apps are optimized for ink screens, meaning some may have slow refresh rates or ghosting issues. The UI is simple and customizable, but you may need to tweak settings to optimize performance for the ink display. Before we move on, if this video was helpful so far, please support my work by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Appreciate your support. Listen, when I received it, I was super excited to test if this ink could be a daily driver, so I immediately inserted my local SIM card and it actually connected seamlessly to my mobile network. So this allowed me to quickly test calls and send messages, and I had no problems doing that. Major messaging apps like WhatsApp and Telegram run smoothly, proving that the phone can handle everyday communication just fine. The slower refresh rate of the ink display required some getting used to, but for text-based tasks it was more than adequate. Watching videos on HiBreak is possible but not enjoyable due to the slow refresh rate. Even in the fastest refresh mode, the videos appear choppy, making it really impractical for streaming YouTube or Netflix for extended periods. Reading, however, is where this phone works pretty well. Ebooks, articles and PDFs looks crisp, and the ink display provides a paper-like experience that's easy on the eyes. Taking photos is another challenge, as the ink screen doesn't really provide a real-time preview with smooth motion. There's a noticeable delay when trying to frame a shot, making it difficult to capture moving subjects. Once taken, the images look acceptable but lack the color accuracy and sharpness found in traditional smartphones. Browsing the web on an ink phone felt surprisingly smooth when using a browser optimized for ink, such as Ink Bro. The built-in Chrome browser also works fine. Pages load at a decent speed, but scrolling can be slightly sluggish due to the display's refresh limitations. And honestly, for reading articles and checking emails, it was a great experience, but for image-heavy sites there's a trade-off in clarity and responsiveness. I however got a smoother browsing experience when I adjusted the refresh rates at the ink center, which I will discuss later. Typing on a HiBreak is functional but not as fluid as on traditional smartphones. Installing Gboard would help improve the experience and allows you to use glide typing and voice input, which actually work reasonably well. The key response time is slightly delayed compared to regular screens, but with a bit of practice it becomes manageable for daily use. When it comes to quality, the HiBreak feels well built with a sturdy plastic shell that gives it a solid, durable feel. It doesn't have a premium design like flagship smartphones, but still has a touch of elegance. However, it lacks waterproofing or dust resistance, so you need to be cautious in wet or dusty environments. The phone also came with a protective case, which helps with grip and adds a layer of protection against drops, but adds bulk to the phone's weight. The physical buttons are well placed and provide satisfying feedback, making navigation smooth. While this device won't win any design awards, it's practical and comfortable to use. Ink devices are known for their energy efficiency, and the HiBreak is no exception. So I carried out various tests and had mixed results. In a high usage scenario with Wi-Fi on, brightness at max and frequent page refreshes every 10 seconds, the battery drained at a rate of about 10% per hour. On medium settings with Wi-Fi off, airplane mode on, brightness at 16, it lasted longer, losing about 4.5% per hour, making it a solid multi-day device. For the most energy efficient settings, Wi-Fi off, airplane mode on and brightness off, the phone only lost around 4% per hour. So in real-world usage, this translates to a battery life of about 2 days with high usage and a couple of days on medium settings, which frankly is better than most traditional smartphones, but not as outstanding as some of the e-readers out there. The ink display is both the HiBreak's greatest strength and its biggest limitation. While it's easy on the eyes and great for reading, the refresh rate isn't fast enough for smooth video playback or rapid UI navigation. Within Ink Center, there are multiple refresh modes available, such as Default, Magazine, Comics, Video and Custom, allowing me to tweak performance based on my needs. The video mode gives the fastest refresh speeds, but it sacrifices image quality, making videos barely watchable. Colors appear somewhat washed out unless the front light is above 50%, which is something to keep in mind when using color applications. My major concern was the phone's custom refresh settings, which allows some degree of improvement. But even at its fastest settings, it won't match the smoothness of a traditional smartphone. Ghosting, where previous images leave a faint trace, can also be an issue in certain apps. Generally speaking, the faster refresh mode you select, the lower quality and more ghosting can be expected. The Bigme HiBreak costs $245 or €241, which is pretty affordable for an ink phone. I think the price makes sense considering the unique display, expandable storage, decent software and overall ink experience. It's definitely not meant for high-speed performance or multimedia. I know a regular smartphone at this price would offer a much better overall performance. But if you're looking for an ink device that can double as a phone rather than a traditional smartphone, this could be a worthwhile investment. But it's definitely worth knowing the trade-offs before jumping in. So what do I think of this device? The Bigme HiBreak is a really interesting take on an ink smartphone. I think it's a cool mix of an eye-friendly display and a basic phone functionality. It handled reading, messaging, web browsing and some simple apps pretty well. But I know the slow refresh rate, limited color quality and a lack of smooth multimedia performance make it hard to recommend it as a main phone for most people. And hey, would I personally use it as a daily phone? Not quite yet. But I think as a secondary device for reading, note-taking and distraction-free browsing, there's definitely something appealing about this device. But listen, this device is definitely not perfect, but it gives me a glimpse of what minimalist smartphones could look like in the future and how we could use ink technology for distraction-free devices. And this is something super interesting for me, so I'm looking forward to other ink phones that get released in the future. And hey, what's kind of cool is while I was working on this video, Bigme actually released a newer, improved version of the device, the HiBreak Pro. I haven't tried it yet, but from what I've seen, it has a lot of upgrades like bigger and better ink display, better processor, more RAM, more storage, bigger battery, Well, I think all this makes me even more interested in getting it and testing it out. And if this video does well, I will do my best to get my hands on the new one for a review. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. Also, would you ever consider switching to an Ink smartphone? What features would it need for you to use it as your daily driver? Please share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And if you're considering an e-ink device, you can check out this full review of Books No Therefore See, which is awesome for productivity, or this review right here on Kindle Scribe, which is great for reading and light note taking. That's it from me, all the best, and talk to you in the next one. Bye!